Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to my show Top Day VC, and today I'm going to be talking about 3 things you should definitely know or at least keep in mind when buying a watch. So before we get started, you'd probably be asking me like, why should I even be wearing a watch in the first place? I want to give a couple of good reasons which I think you should guys at least consider. First thing is watches are convenient. It's the most easiest way to tell time. It's by looking at your wrist. And plus, a look toward your wrist, it's much more classier than a look to your phone. I'm saying that because in a business environment and in a meeting or even in a date, it's frowned upon and it looks very unprofessional towards the viewer. It's considered as rude as well when you're looking at your smartphone when talking to someone. So be mindful for that. That's why there's a watch in the first place. Watch are functional. It's, like I said before, the most convenient way to tell time. Watch can last longer than any other smartphone out there. Well, I'm talking about mainly on conventional watches, not the new smartwatches. Some are mechanically powered, they don't even need batteries. Some are automatic, some are digital, so there are varieties of them, but they're really reliable. They get the job done because their job is mainly to tell time and not other features that defeats the purpose, just like a phone. Plus, another positive side is if you are into using a stopwatch, instead of taking out your phone to use the timer, you could use your chronograph watch to tell time because it's an easy access for a stopwatch. Lastly, watch provides simplicity. It's appropriate for almost all occasions like funeral, weddings, dinner, parties, etc. When you wear a watch, it's less likely that you'll get distracted on your phone because once you look at your phone, even when you're looking at a time, you get distracted by other notifications that you get there, like let's say a message, an email. Even if your phone is on silent, you will still get those messages and you probably end up replying to that message, and that message will come back at you, and then you'll end up like a rabbit trail non-stop and get detracted from the main aspect of why you are looking at the time. Plus, main thing is it looks more professional. This video is not about why you should be wearing a watch. I just thought I would preface it so that you know where I'm coming from, my perspective. So let's get started. Here are the 3 things that you should know or at least keep in mind when buying a watch. First things first, you gotta know your budget. The main thing is the major contributing factor to whatever you're gonna buy because your budget dictates how much you're able to spend. So the budget is how much money you put aside to buy a certain product. These steps that I'm gonna mention are applicable to other products as well, not just watches, but I'm basing it off as a watch because that is what I just recently bought. So main thing is budget. Budget being, for this watch, I said around 0 to 350, which let me limit down my searches from 100,000s of watches. You guys know there's like a lot of watch outside, to like a couple of hundreds, 50s, top 10. At least narrow it down to at least top 10. A budget helped me narrow it down as much as possible. Deduce the stuff that I didn't really need to look at and spend my time on. Example, instead of looking at $500 watches, if your budget ends at 350, don't go above and waste your time looking at it because there's no point if you're not gonna spend the money. No point in looking at it. You can do that always later on, free time. As of now, focus on the topic and on the subject that you're on, which is to invest on a product. Secondly is you gotta know what you're looking for. Are you more into like the feature aspect or style or design, or the mixture of 3? Those things also are correlated with step 1, which is budget. If you're kind of looking for a watch that's like features and design oriented, you may not be able to look it for the price range that you set aside. So you should always be open-minded and willing to like be able to compromise on certain aspects of it. I'll give you a perfect example is the watch that I bought right here. Like one aspect's kind of bugging me on it, which is in the 12 o'clock mark right here. It has like 2 indication symbols while the rest have 1, and that's kind of like annoying me, but it's not big of a problem that it would hinder me on buying this product. Reason being, the price is right, the design is really good, and it's simple, just the way I want it. Like I mentioned, if you kind of want to rewind, I mentioned 3 steps that would be guiding your factor. And this is a perfect example that I just mentioned right now, which is feature, style, and design. What I got, I wasn't looking for too much features, which I kind of crossed out. And then I was looking for style and design, which I kind of got with this. Received a lot of compliments. If you guys are looking for it, please do check it out. Keeping that in mind, also I want to add that there are plenty of watches out there. So if you know what you're looking for, are you looking for a digital watch, a smartwatch, a analog, mechanical, automatic? This is where you decide. All of these steps correlate into helping you narrow down your search as much as possible. Like I mentioned before, our main duty is to narrow it down so that we can have an informative decision on which products we could buy and do research on. Let's say if you have like a top 3 that's left, you could research each of those and compare and contrast them. You don't want to research 20 items because that's just totally redundant and a waste of time. That's kind of defeating the purpose of why you're even buying a watch. So please keep that in mind. Top 3, top 5 is more enough, because you want to limit it to a way that's easier for you to decide. So it's kind of like roughing at first, then polishing, and then the product you're trying to buy. Lastly, I want to mention step 3. Know the product you're buying and expecting to get. Meaning you have to do your due diligence before getting the product. Let's say you decide upon a watch. Before you even purchase or hit the pay button on your website or whatever, do as much research as you can so that you're mentally satisfied and you know what product you're expecting. Don't leave it ambiguous and be like surprised when you get the product, because that is totally wrong. You should never do that. You should always know what you're trying to buy, because you're investing on a product. You don't want to buy something that you're going to regret later on. What I mean by investing is the product you're buying is going to be a part of you, part of who you are, because you put a lot of time and effort. It says something about you because of all the research that you've done and time you invested on it. And so you gotta do your due diligence, and plus the product itself gives a reflection of you to the viewer, so it kind of gives them an idea of how you look, how you feel, and where you kind of stand for. If you have like a high-end watch, they'll be like, oh, this guy's classy, whatnot. If you have a stylish watch, this guy's like hip, more up-to-date, more design-wise. There is a reason for everything, so keep that in mind. Definitely know the product before you even get it so that you're happy. And also it kind of works to your advantage as well. If you get the product and it's not the way that you researched and what was said online, you have a good reason to return it. It's not even an excuse, because you're justified. You have certain evidence that backs your claim and kind of helps you promote your idea and get it across to the person that sold it to you. So to recap, first you gotta know your budget, main thing, so that you know how much money you're willing to spend, set aside. Second thing is know what you're looking for, style, features, design, smartwatch, digital, etc. Third is know the product you're buying and expecting to get. So that's the end of the video. Hopefully you guys like it. If you guys have any questions, comments, and concerns, please leave a comment down below. And I will do my best to address those concerns. And give me a thumbs up if you find this video helpful. And take care.